Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to episode 78 of Improving Chess. And what a day we have today! It's the day after India beat China. In fact, if I think about it, India beating China is such a big news in the chess world because this Chinese team is so difficult to beat. And we did it. We're going to discuss it today in this session. We're going to all see the games. By the way, I must tell you guys, today it was extremely difficult to wake up and do this session because it was a very, very tiring day, sort of a draining day yesterday. But I mean, you see the Indian team playing so amazingly well, and you're like, we have to wake up, you get inspired by them. So, uh, by the way, just a few things before we get going. I had one super chat, if I'm not mistaken, which I should. Goblet Fire has written, whenever I analyze a position, your voice runs in my head. White's plan here is to chess has become a conversation between white and black. Very nice. Goblet Fire. I'm so glad that people are not just watching chess, they are understanding it. They are trying to see what the moves that are being made. For example, I saw that after the live stream yesterday, Samay went online and he played on the stream, and he was saying, I want to attack like Divya Deshmukh, or how to become as tricky as Nihal Sareen. So basically, when you see all of these things, it becomes, when you see these games, it becomes very important. By the way, Rakshit Singh has given me a very good idea. He said put the link of the petition in the description, so I'm just going to do that, and so that you guys can, I'm going to talk about that as well. Petition for Arjuna Award for chess players, and there's also a ChessBase India article on it that we have published. So on no Arjuna Award for chess players, I would like to discuss that, but that we'll do at the end of the session. So that, but first, chess. Yeah, first we'll discuss chess, and I have a few things to say. So the day began yesterday with India being on 11 match points out of 12 because of the unfortunate disconnection against Mongolia. If you all remember, two games got disconnected, Vidit and Humpy. Now, when such a thing happens, we assume that the players are doing nothing much, or the officials are doing nothing much, but there was a lot of action that was happening behind the scene. In fact, I know that few of the people actually reached out to the players and gave them suggestions on how to fix the internet. In fact, there were a lot of experts who were trying to do that, and I think it all worked because there were no disconnections yesterday. सुशील धोते says, गुड मॉर्निंग सर, कल से हर चैनल पे जाके इंडिया बीट चाइना ही देख रहा हूँ. आई थिंक दिस कैन बी रीबॉर्न ऑफ चेस इंडिया. थैंक्स फॉर दिस, सुशील. थैंक यू. आई थिंक ओवरऑल, if you think about it, we are going to, I'll tell you why it's such a big deal. Of course you all know it, but still, first of all, the day began with 11 out of 12 and we are playing Georgia, and I was very surprised. That Bahadur Jobawa took rest in this match because he is the best player for Georgia, and I thought he should have been there facing Anand. So Vidit took rest in game number 1, and we played with India number 1 and 2 in the open as well as in women's section, and the game ended in a 4-2 victory for India. You can see here how Hari Krishna was with a completely losing position won, and also how Prag and Divya beat Kacharava and Diana. I mean, those were really nice games. Divya's attacking game was tremendous. I mean, we have to learn a lot from Divya. So we'll be checking her games. Um, then we went to the next game, which was against Germany, and I thought the German team was very very strong in general, but somehow we beat them 4.5, 1.5, and one of the big results. You see, in this, it's actually the margin of error is very small. For example, Vidit was under big pressure against Rasmus Swain, but he, instead of losing, he won. So we were 3.5, instead of 3.5, 2.5, it became 4.5, 1.5. Blue Bomb Matthias drew with Hari Krishna. Lara Schulze and Harika drew. By the way, Blue Bomb Matthias drawing with Hari Krishna was another amazing game with Endgame play. I mean, it's just something to check out. Bhakti Kulkarni beat Osman Orja. I think Bhakti has done a lot of work for Team India. She's played very, very critical games, which has been very nice. Rowan Vogel beat Nihal Sarin drew with Rowan. I want to check this game. This was really nice. Nihal sacrificed his queen. Actually, after the game, he said that he actually got his queen trapped and then saw, oh, thank God, there's compensation. And once again, Vantika, the junior board, helped us to score one win against Schneider Yana. And then we had the critical game. Now just look at these players of China. Jing Liren, okay? Ding Liren is actually world number 3, very very strong player, has beaten Carlsen many times, and Vidit was able to hold him to a draw. Very solid play. I thought Hari Krishna and Yu Yangi was a very balanced match because both are very strong players. I mean, if you say Ding Liren is slightly better than Vidit, then here Hari Krishna and Yu Yangi, I wouldn't say Yu Yangi is better because Hari Krishna has beaten Yu Yangi several times. So their match ended in a draw, so it's 1-1. But Humpy Ho Yifan, I think it was very commendable that Humpy, who's playing this really world-class player, Ho Yifan, also has internet problems, was able to not just draw but was also pressing in the game. We're going to look at all these games very quickly. Harika drew with Ju Wenjun, which was again a big result, I think, because Ju Wenjun is a very strong player, also the current women's world champion. There was a match between Ju Wenjun and Goryachkina a few months ago, and Ju Wenjun managed to beat her. So she's the current world women's champion. Pragnananda was playing Liu Yan, and I thought that game was very, very amazing. In fact, Prag was losing at some point but managed to win. And then Divya managed to beat Zhu Jinner. And this game we are going to look at first because Divya is really one of those players in this tournament who has come out with, like, you literally understand her style. She is like, I don't get scared of any opponent, I'm ready to attack. She is such a like a ball of fire. That's what I feel. So let's have a look at her game and try to learn from it. And also I wanted to show you guys something. I don't know how many of you here, I think it would be a mistake to ask how many of you saw the live stream, but how many of you did not see the live stream yesterday? So these are the standings now after the tournament, after the first leg has ended. You see, India finished first with 17 points, China on 16, and we also scored more game points, which is so nice to see, not just match points. Match points is 2 points for every match. So in 9 rounds, we just drew 1 against Mongolia. We could have won that as well. We would have been 18 out of 18. But then China finished second. Germany finished third. So these 3 teams qualified. By the way, everyone asking why the rating of the players is low is because that's their rapid rating. And unfortunately, Indian players do not play too many rapid tournaments. Ah, nice. Some of you have not seen. Sujit Varghese is here. Oh, Sujit, thank you for joining in. By the way, guys, Sujit is in UAE right now, and he's it's 6:30, I think, in the morning, 7 o'clock, and he's up learning chess. Brilliant, Sujit. Um, so these are the standings, and then we have the pairings. I sat down yesterday and put in all these results because I think it's very important for us to know whom are we playing. Mona Lisa Chowdhury, Sagar and Samay, both of you did an incredible job yesterday. Amruta joining in was refreshing. During the end, it felt like a crucial match where the entire stadium is shouting India, India. Mona Lisa, thank you so much for always supporting chess in this lockdown, and you have been wonderful. I also believe it was a very nice feeling because, first of all, we did it on ChessBase India. This was the biggest live stream ever for ChessBase India. In fact, the previous one was Amruta's birthday, where there were around 6,500 people, concurrent viewers. This time we had 31,000 people watching it, and also it was so exciting. I always keep saying this. I Google it. What's the capacity of Wankhede Stadium? Then I go and say, what is the capacity of Eden Gardens? Something like this. And I see, okay, so cricket basically, if it's in Wankhede, it's 33,108 according to Wikipedia. Oh, if it's Eden Gardens, it's 68,000. And then I see, okay, 31,000 people were watching this. Of course, we cannot compare the two yet because in cricket, they all pay the entry fee, 33,000 people to watch it. While here, but still, I would say chess is becoming popular, and the day won't be far when people will, queue up to watch games and stuff like this, which would be so amazing for the chess world. I also could sense that I'll bring this up again, but I could sense at the end the players joining in felt very appreciated about this fact that so many people were watching, and they joined in right from, if you see on the screen, that's me and Amruta on the left, then Vidit, then Adiban, Tanya, Vaishali Pragnananda. How cute is that? Two players in one house, yeah, playing. And that's Vishi Anand also joined in, which is such a brilliant thing. There's Nihal Sareen, Harika, Divya Deshmukh. I mean, we couldn't get the remaining players either because of the lack of time and trying to reach them. It would be so nice to have had Hampi, Bhakti, Vantika, Hari Krishna. In fact, Hari actually does not play from his home. He goes somewhere to play, and so he was traveling back to his home, and so that's the reason why he couldn't make it. No. Calling people was not planned at all because it was, I think, Samay who actually wrote to a lot of players and got them. He was like, when Vidit came, then Tanya and Adiban came towards the end as the expert commentators. He sent an invite to first Nihal, I think, then Harika, Divya, Srinath, Vishi Anand as well, and Prag and Vaishali also joined in. So it was so nice. And there's Samay here sitting there. He has a very nice post on Instagram where he's sitting like this and just thinking, what's the combined elo of this entire group? So Durgesh Kulkarni, thoughts about potential Marty Rosian versus Prag match? Yeah, let's have a look at this. Players first, we have seen. Let's look at pairings. So India is through the quarterfinals. Also Azerbaijan has Mamedyarov, Rajabov, and very strong team. Russia is really quite a strong team that we are going to face at some point. Also USA. So if you look at this carefully, the things have panned out pretty well for us. For example, let's say in China-Ukraine, China qualifies. Then China-USA play each other. So maybe China comes from here. So in this bottom part, I guess when it comes to US and China, I still feel that USA has good chances, because on top board they have Wesley So, who can give a tough fight to Ding Liren. But in the juniors board, they have Jeffrey Ziong, who is much stronger than Liu Yang. So, here you need a real balance between the open team and also the junior team. But still, if you consider the women's section, China is clearly the favorite. So I feel that they will beat Ukraine, then they'll beat USA, they'll come here. Then in Hungary and Germany, again a match which is quite well balanced. Maybe Hungary is the slight favorite there. So they would qualify and play Russia. I'm sure Russia would beat their opponents, because Russian team is really they have on the top board, they have all the strong world class players, if I'm not mistaken. Just let me check who are the top players in team Russia. They're playing in pool C, and yeah, they are playing with Grishchuk, Nepo, and Grishchuk scored 3.5 out of 5. Nepo scored 3 out of 4. Then they have Lahano, Goryachkina. So these two world-class women players. Esipenko is their junior, who is really cool. I mean, very, very strong player, Esipenko. And then they have Polina Shuvalova, who is the current world junior girls champion, who is very strong. So I have a feeling that Russian team is like bulletproof. On the juniors board, they have the two best juniors. They have Lagno and Goryachkina, who are like the world championship material. They have played the world championships. Then they have top Grishchuk and Nepo. And in their, as these people like reserves, they have Dubo, who is very strong. Artemiev, who's also very strong. And then they have Koschenyuk and Gunina. Now imagine Koschenyuk and Gunina would make it to the top team of any team. But they have that. And then they have another two very strong juniors, Sarana, Alexei Sarana and Margarita Potapova. Like, if Russia made two teams out of these 12 players, even their second team would be super strong. Dubo, Artemiev, Koschenyuk, Gunina, Sarana, Potapova, like amazing team. So that's why I feel Russia is like a bulletproof team. That's why Russia versus China would be an interesting battle, but I think Russia would qualify here to the finals from this group. That is what is my feeling, because they have such a balanced team. Like, for example, Nepo Ding Liren would be a tough match. Grishchuk versus Yu Yangi also would be tough. Ho Yifan and Lagno would be a very, like, anyone could win, but I think Ho Yifan has an edge. Ju Wenjun versus Goryachkina would be like the world championship happening all again. And then if you come back to like the junior board, again you will see that Esipenko will play Liu Yang, where I think Esipenko is clearly superior, and Shuvalova playing against Zhu Jinner would again give Russia the edge, I feel. So yeah, Russian school of chess. They are still very, very strong. They would, I think, reach the finals. But then coming to our group, Greece, Armenia, I have a feeling that Armenia is the stronger team than Greece. Because they have Levon Aronian, they have Gabriel Sargsyan. So if we check the Armenian team, I have a feeling that their team, Levon is a strong player. Maybe he will face Anand. Anand may play that game and would give a tough fight to Levon on the board number 1. Then we will have either Hari or Vidit playing on board number 2. So Sargsyan may be their player. But in the women's board, I just get a feeling that we have a small edge. Like Elena Danilian is maybe not as strong as Humpy. Humpy should fix her internet issue in these 3 days. That's very important. Lilith Makarchian and Harika would also be slightly in India's favor there. Then coming to Haik Martirosyan. Now I believe Haik Martirosyan is a brilliant player. In fact, he's so strong. Haik, we really need to take care of him, because he's positionally very very strong, also very tricky, he's tactically good. I mean, he's just the perfect youngster that Armenia is looking up to, as the next Levon Aronian. And maybe Prag or Nihal will play against him. I don't know how they will decide who's going to play whom. And then we will have Anna Sargsyan, who is slightly unknown name. Anna Sargsyan, who may face Divya or Vantika, but this girl Anna has actually scored 7 out of 8 points in this, 7 out of 9 points in this tournament, which is quite a lot. She's been hitting heavily, she's played all the games. The other junior girl, there's no other junior girl in the team. Yeah, that's the thing. So therefore she has all the thing on her, and she might be also a tough opponent to face. So that's why I think Armenia will come and face India. So Levon Vichy might definitely be a well balanced match. Let's say Hari or Vidit against Gabriel Sargsyan. There's our opening. 2 women board is our opening, where we can get ahead. And finally, in the junior board, I think Esipenko versus Prag or Nihal will be a very balanced match. And when we come to girls board, Divya or Vantika against this girl Anna Sargsyan, again a very interesting match. So game is well balanced in the, so India and Armenia, let's hope India wins. Let's say India wins here. Then we would face Bulgaria, Poland. I think Poland is the stronger team, so they go forward. They play Azerbaijan, and Azerbaijan, everyone is looking forward to India versus Azerbaijan. So let's put Azerbaijan here. India facing Azerbaijan, and then let's say if India beats, because everyone is looking forward to Vidit Rajabov. Yeah, as Anush Sankaran says, in semi-finals want Vidit Rajabov. What an epic match that would be. Mamed Yaro playing on top board, then Vidit Rajabov. They have this rivalry. I think it's a friendly rivalry, but still there is a small rivalry between them. And then so India goes here, Russia goes to the finals. That's how I look at things. But so many things have to go India's way. So I mean, I'm not like saying this is what is going to happen, but good chances of this happening. And this would be a very nice finale. So by the way, guys, please book your time slots. The preliminary round here is happening on 27th, so that's where India is not playing, but maybe we may do a live stream of Greece Armenia match, because to understand our opponents who will be playing next. And then on 28th we have India versus the winner of that. Then on 29th we have the semi-finals, and 30th we have the finals. Now how does the stage work out is, if India is playing Armenia, then the 6 boards will play with the white piece. Like if suppose our board number 1 is white, board number 2 is black, board number 3 is white, board number 4 is black, then all of these will get interchanged and they'll play 2 matches of 6 games. So who was white will become black, who was black will become white. I was just trying to understand if both the matches at the end, like one is won by a team, then the other is won by another team, then how does that work out? I don't know. I have to check out. Maybe it's a good time to, yeah, regulations. I'm just checking out their regulations right now, because they are going to play alternate games. So yeah, format playoff, yes. So 12 teams qualified from stage 1 play a knockout tournament. Each duel consists of 2 matches. In the first match, the first named team in a duel has white on odd numbered boards and black on even numbered boards in the first match, and white on even numbered boards and black on odd numbered boards in second match. Okay, fine. The pairings are done as follows. Okay, we know the pairings, that's fine. The tiebreak system is described in Annex 1, tiebreak rules, Article 2. Okay, let's try to check what is the tiebreak here, because That's going to be very, very important. Yeah, tie breaks 1. Okay. In the event of a drawn duel, the tie is broken with an Armageddon game. Okay. A drawing of lots is done automatically by HIP. I don't know what HIP is. To determine in which of the 4 categories the Armageddon game is to be played. The captain of each team shall nominate one player from respective category. Oh. Once one player for each team has been nominated, there is a drawing of lots to determine which player can choose whether to play white or black. Okay. The time limit for the Armageddon game is 5 minutes for white, 4 minutes for black, with no increment. If the player with white pieces wins his or her game, wins the duel. If the black player wins or draws his game, his or her team wins the duel. So this is like Armageddon, but there are 2 questions here actually. First of all, if there are 2 matches, if one team wins it with a score of 4-2 in game 1, and in the second one, the other team wins with 3.5, 2.5, I believe that the team which won with 4-2 will qualify, because first tie break may be the game points. But if that is not true, if it's 1-1 and the match game points don't matter, like India won the first, say Armenia won the second, and then both, but the points at which they won does not matter, then they are saying there will be an Armageddon match, and where one player from each 4 categories, so one in open, one in women, one in junior girls, one in junior boys, all will play an Armageddon match, and they will decide who's. But again, there could be 2-2, right? Which of the 4 categories the Armageddon game is to be played? Okay. Maybe there's only in one. Okay, got it. So a drawing of lots has to be done. Okay, got it. So like they will have a drawing of lots, and they will pick up a chit and say, oh, it's come the open category now. Either Hari Krishna, Vidit, Anand or Arvind can play, and opponent also have to choose from their open players. Got it. Okay. Jatin Desai, amazing perfect stream yesterday. Will we get face cam access of teams which India play in quarterfinals, semifinals and finals? Yes, we will. Of course, we will get that. Hope Ayushi will is well. Have not heard back from her since last 3 days. Yeah, when actually these matches are going on, I also haven't seen Ayushi joining in. I will write to her and find out if all is okay with her. So this is, I think, a small doubt that I have now, is whether the game points are important or not. But I will clarify that in one of my videos when I make them, so that everything will be clear. Saurav Das says, India in Cricket World Cup 19 won all the games, still lost in the semis. Hope Indian chess gets the luck for the hard work they are putting in. Saurav Das, yes, I'm sure that this will be very, very interesting. But at the end of the day, we have to be very, very aware of this fact that things can go either way. It's always this last second what's happening. Like Prag was losing, he won, and all of this. So we should not be too hard on our players if something goes wrong. But okay, we will. Yeah, Zimbabwe won't be there in the face cams for sure this time. Okay, so time to look at some chess now. That's what we wanted to see. Divya versus Zhu Jinner. Guys, you're going to take Divya's side. She is black, and we're going to try and understand Divya's complex moves. So Zhu Jinner played e4. Divya responded with c5. Very good move. Knight f3, d6, takes. We have the Sicilian on the board. And Divya played the classical. Now, this is, as I had mentioned, a favorite of Vidit. Now, at the top level, they all prefer the Najdorf. Or, if not the Najdorf, they all play the Sveshnikov, which goes knight c6, d4, takes, knight f6, knight c3, e5. These 2 Sicilians are the most common. But here we see Divya playing the classical. Not that it's not played at the highest level, but relatively less. So Zhu Jinner now played the most aggressive move. She put her bishop on g5. And this is one of the most common moves. e6 was played by Divya. She put her pawn on e6. And queen came to d2. Now Divya continued bishop e7 and white castle long. This is how they play in the Sicilian classical variation. They quickly castle, and Divya played a6. Now you will see that many times black castles here. But the thing about this is that if you castle too soon, the problem is that white gets a target to attack. Like he can go f4, h4, just push the pawns down the board. And so Divya said, I'm not castling, okay? I'm going to keep my king right now in the center for the time being, and I'm going to play a6. Fair enough. Zhu Jinner said, I'm going to play f4. Maybe at some point I can play e5 and break open the center. So there came bishop to d7 move here, which is a strong move by Divya, just developing and making way for the rook to come to c8. Now, if you look at the games that have been played, we will find over 2000, nearly 1500 to 2000 games being played in this position already. So it's a well-known position from opening theory point of view. White went knight f3, again a very main move. The idea is to break with e5 to control that square. Vishal Parashar says, great coverage yesterday by you guys. Vishy sir's presence made it that much better. Also, for someone of that stature to accept that he's not playing well, what a gentleman and a sportsman. Yeah, in general, I would say that Vishy came on stream and he wasn't particularly happy about his performance, but he was happy that Team India was doing well. And I also believe that Anand is a very quick learner of things. So he will see what's going wrong with his game in the next few days, and he will try to fix it very, very quickly. So he may become the biggest asset for Team India in the quarters, semis and finals if we, reach there, because of his experience. Also, when you have Anand in the team, all the players are really pumped up. So, his contribution should not be underestimated, because it may not be even direct contribution. It's kind of an indirect one. Okay, so Divya played the move b5. Now, in this position, if e5 is played, there is a very common move which I want you to know in Sicilian. In such positions, remember, there's a very common idea. So I want you to find it. Black to play. What should black play here? Yesterday's stream was my favorite. Yesterday's stream was very nice. In fact, it was also my favorite. We tried to do it like, this news sort of very quick paced. We have experts coming in. And I think it was very interesting. We need to improve a bit further, but it was very nice. Yeah, Hari was too good, yesterday. Endgame genius. He's too good with the endgame. We have to, learn endgames from him. In fact, the way he plays is just amazing. So, yeah, very good. Ilam Parthi here in the chat. Who's here? Ilam Parthi, you will be playing such tournaments very soon. So, good for you to watch them closely as to what's happening. Yeah, all those who are mentioning moving the knight from f6 or taking the pawn, that's not good idea. For example, let's say you take pawn takes pawn. Oops, not with the knight. I want to take back with the pawn. And now, if you see, this entire file opens up on the d file. Yeah, and that's not a good news for us. And that's why don't do this. other move which I would really like to play is knight to d5, but the problem is that this is actually hanging. Like for example, I could take bishop e7, you can take here, and then e into d6. I mean, it's just not working out. If you take with the queen, then I take on d5, ed, and now I can even take e into d6. Queen into d5 also looks like a good move here. I mean, this is just bad. So you need to fight for this d5 square, and that's why the right move is b4. Well done, all of you. This counter punch is very important in the Sicilian. When the opponent plays e5, you must be ready to punch with b4 if possible. And look, it's actually very subtle. I will just say, if in this position the king is on b1, okay, for example, I'm just making a random move here for white, don't and now we are reaching this position again, then this b4 is a bad move. Why? Because e into f6 comes, you take the knight, so both sides have one pawn, one piece each, and then you take on e7, he takes on d2, and you lose the queen. So tell me guys, why is king on b1 and c1 making a difference? Let me see if you guys can figure out the difference of why king on b1 and c1 is. We have a super chat from Uday Mallikarjun who says, is Srinath part of the team? I didn't find him in list. Srinath is not the part of the team players. He is the vice captain of the team, and he is helping the entire team with every little thing, you know, like he is trying to make sure they know the pairing, they know, oh, do you need help with preparation, should I do something for you guys, you know, what is the help required, oh, internet issues, trying to talk with perhaps media, trying to talk with technicalities, with the arbiters, with knowing which room India should play in, all the players, so that they can focus 100% on their games. What a big service, right, to chess that he's doing. And also remember, he's a grandmaster, and he's a very strong grandmaster. Very good, guys. You are extremely alert this morning, and you have seen that takes comes with a check if the king was on c1. So that's the reason why after b4, if you play e into f6, b into c3, now he cannot play f into e7 because check. Very little small difference here, but comes in very handy. So therefore Zhu Jinner did not play e5. She played bishop takes on f6. And many of you would ask, hey, but why is she giving up her bishop? Isn't that a very important bishop, dark squared bishop? You have been always telling us, don't give up your dark squared bishop in the Sicilian. It's an important piece. But guys, here there's a small difference. The point is, you really don't want to take with the bishop because the d6 pawn gets weak. So you take with the pawn, which is the main move. And now look at the structure. The structure is slightly, how should I put it? It's a dynamic structure, but at the same time slightly passive. Why do I call it passive? Because you can't push f5. Just to give you an idea, let's assume we push f5. He takes. Look at these ugly pawns, all isolated pawns, okay? And this is not what black wants. Okay, fine. So black says, I won't play f5. Black says, I want to play e5. Then you say, array, why is this extra moves happening? e5, you'll say, array, d5 square. What about the d5 square? Guys, isn't that weak? You're like, okay, got it. We can't even play e5. And you're like, oh, can I go d5? Like, no, d5 is also not possible. You will lose a free pawn. So you see, these pawns here, although they limit all of white's pieces, you see, like this, all are very nicely placed. They don't have that dynamism to move forward. So that's the reason why it's a very complex position. You can't push, you can't do anything, but you need to keep improving. And at the right moment, there will come a time when you need to strike. And that's what is very, very difficult. So for example, now what Zhu Jinner did was very interesting. She played f5. And she's asking Divya, do you want a free pawn? Please come, take it. And Divya is like, what? Free pawn? Okay. Take, and take. This is what you're giving me a free pawn. No, thank you, because I know that you will take the d5 square. You will put your knight here. My king is really open on the e file. The rook will come in, and I'm too worried. I'm too stressed about this position. I don't want to play this. And I think it's absolutely right decision. At the same time, playing e5 is a very bad decision because it weakens a square. I'm going to ask the chat, what square is weakened? I want to know if every one of you can understand the concept of weaknesses in the position. Which square is weakened here? Can you tell me? Maulik Desai says Vidit is Kohli, Vishy sir is Dhoni, Srinath is our strategist, Divya I feel is the find of the tournament for everyone. Yeah, well, uh, Maulik, this is very nice analogies that you have made, but Divya, I would say just go and in YouTube and type Divya Deshmukh ChessBase India, and you will see so many of her interviews. She's so confident, so eloquent. She's so good on the camera, and in fact, when she won her first game against a GM at the age of I think 12, she was just 12. I was there, I was shooting that game, and it was in Chennai, and it happened in the hotel, in a hotel. I was shooting. After the game ended, there's this entire video of her beating this Vietnamese GM. Then I had a room in that hotel, so we invited Divya to the room and we recorded an entire video of her beating that grandmaster, which is very popular. You should check that out. She's so confident about all the moves. It's brilliant. Please do check that out. Smith Solanki says, what's the difference between WGM and GM? Harika has a GM title. Okay, good question, Smith. The difference between, by the way, before I answer, everyone in the chat, very good. All those who mentioned d5 square, fantastic. I'm so glad that all of you have become so strong now, understanding the concept of weaknesses. Here d5 square is weak because it cannot be protected by a pawn, and the knight can jump in here, which is a very dangerous thing for black. And look at these bishops. They are saying, we need open board. We need our bishops to move. And you're like, no, there's no open board now. This is closed. Knights are going to have the fun. And white has two of them. Black has only one. That is the problem. So, coming to this concept of GMs, WGMs, IMs, WIMs. So, if you get first of all, these are women titles, WGM and WM. But women are not stopped from getting the open titles. They can get the open titles. For example, in this case, if you are a boy, you can get only IM and GM. But if you are a girl, you can get first WIM at 2200, WGM at 2300, then IM at 2400, and GM at 2500. Of course, not to forget, there's these norms in between. For every title, you need to make 3 norms. And that's how it works. I do not go into the intricacies of explaining how you get a norm, but it's like every tournament you play really above your level, you get that norm, which is at a specific rating level. So you need 3 norms. You need to play 3 tournaments well, and then get a rating of 2200 for WIM, 2300 for WGM, 2400 for IM, 2500 for GM. Nishant Banga says, really blessed to find out about such an amazing game that helps you win at life indirectly. Nishant, that's very nicely put, and I'm so glad that a lot of people found chess and are like, this is the game which really helps us to stay motivated. Many of you also said in this lockdown, chess was the best thing I found, and so precious. In fact, I know one of my friends who is, I think, also in the chat, Mayur Gondarekar, who is from Japan. I am not sure about his age. He's roughly somewhere in his 30s or near 40s, and he's in Japan, and he watches all the ChessBase India live streams. He makes notes, and he's like, when the lockdown opens up, I'm going to go and play in tournaments, and I'm going to try to improve, get a rating, try to become a strong player. And this is so amazing, like, to think of it this way. Okay, so coming back here to the game, after e5 is played, this is bad. So Zujiner says, I'm going to play f5, and Divya says, look, I'm going to keep my pawns intact here. If you take, I will take back. I'm happy. Okay. So queen went to b6. She puts her queen on b6. It's a nice square for the queen. Okay, Mayur 30s. Right. Okay. Queen goes to h6. This was not a common move. King b1 is more common, but queen h6 very logical. You want to come in with your queen here, then attack the rook, and if the rook moves, you want to pick up the pawn. It's very simple. So Divya now decides to make this move, long castles. And this is somehow very, very dangerous. I know many of you would be thinking, what? How can she long castle? Look at her king, so exposed. There's so much space around the king. But remember, if your opponent cannot attack you, cannot come close to you, it's not so dangerous. For example, these knights have been severely restricted by these 3 pawns. And that's why coming at the king is not easy. Alright, so now Zhu Jinner played the move queen to h5. And it's a very nice move because it inconveniences black here. It attacks the f7 pawn. That is the big problem. And now Divya has a decision to make. What shall she do here? Should she defend it with the bishop? Should she defend it with the rook? Should she defend with this rook? And there are a lot of these questions on the mind. Here, unbelievably, this is a 15-minute plus 5-second increment game, guys. Divya thought for 8 minutes 50 seconds. I have to really ask her whether her internet went off. I haven't been able to yesterday. I should have asked her. Well, how to get FM title? You get FM title if you reach 2300 ELO. Straight. There's no norms there. Just reach 2300, you get FM. Okay. So what Divya did now is that rook df8 was played. Now, if you see here, rook df8 defends the pawn on f8, and Divya also wanted to keep her h7 pawn defended with the other rook. Fine. I guess even if you defended it this way and you gave up this pawn, it's not such a big deal because that pawn is not very important. It many times gives black a play later on these 2 open files. Okay. So anyway, she went rook df8, which is okay. King b1. And now the drawback of the move f5. Every move has a drawback. And this is what I want you to understand. When the pawn pushed to f5, it gave up something. Can you guys, which square is now weak because of the f5 move? And how can we take advantage of that? Which square is slightly, soft? Let's see how many of you can... before FM, there's also CM, which is Candidate Master, which is 2200. Earlier in chess, 4 titles were very important: IM, WIM, GM, WGM. Now FM is also important, CM is also important, WFM, WCM. So, chess is growing in that sense. Yes, very good. All those who said E5, fantastic. I also see some people mentioning E3, but it's not because of the F pawn moving forward. But in general, I agree with you. This square is not protected by a pawn. E3 is a weakness which can be used in the future. And E5 is also a weakness. Very good, guys. I'm so happy that all of you are finding these. So now Divya simply plonked her knight on the E5 square. Okay, good move. Now Zhu Jinner said, I will play bishop to D3. Defending, developing, everything looks good. And Divya made a nice move, I liked it, which is king to B8. And this is generally a good idea because this is a semi-open file. You can bring your rook later on here and it can get active. Now the knight came to E2. When the knight moves to E2, it is generally looking at these squares. So as I have previously mentioned, white wants to force black to take on f5. Black wants to force white to take on e6. This is how this battle is going on. You know, the one who blinks first is the one at a disadvantage. So both players, it's a very, that's why classical Sicilian is considered very difficult to play. You are always trying to clarify. I want to take, oh, you will take, this clarification. But here, no one wants to take. Everyone is like, no, you go first. So, okay. Divya plays a nice move, rook h g8. And she wants to put pressure on g2 pawn. Okay. So, opponent goes for the move knight to g3. Now, if she would have taken on h7, I believe that leads to an instant draw now. Because after rook h8, queen g7, rook h8 check, like attacking there, here, you go back and you defend. Because if you go here, there is a big problem. And I'm going to ask you now this question. What is the problem here? Why does black get a good position now? Can anyone tell me? It's black to move. I'm also just making it clear here that after rook g8, if he takes on e5, which is like you cannot take on g7 because knight d7 forks the king and the queen, then comes d into e5, and now if you try to go here, then the pawn structure has been considerably improved, and after ef5, just bishop c6 is a very good position for black. Okay, so yes, very good. All those who said in this position where my question came in to take on g2, no, not a good idea, because he comes in knight f4 attacking your rook and also putting some pressure here, and we don't really want it. But you have the move knight to g4 here. Very good if you found it out, because you attack the queen and also jumping into f2, forking the two rooks. Absolutely very nice, this move. So that's the reason why queen h6 is not a good idea. There, taking the pawn anyway is not. So Zhu Jinar played knight g3, which is fine. Now Divya said, I'm not going to take the pawn on f5. I'm going to play knight to g4. Tarun says, one of the best streams yesterday, Sagar bhai. Amazing stuff. Keep doing what you are doing. Loving the streams. Thank you, Tarun. It's very kind of you. And we'll be doing a commentary during the quarterfinals as well as semifinals. So this will continue. Rook d2 was played. And now Divya is still continuing putting pressure in the position, improving bit by bit, little by little her position, and now she's trying to put pressure here. If you are a white player and you understand this position well, you would play a move like rook e1 and you would say to black, come on, keep finding good moves, let's play this shadow game. You don't take, I don't take, we both keep moving here and there, let's see what happens. But Zhu Jinar was like, too much pressure, too much tension, I am taking on e6. And you're like, no, that's not a good idea, because now you see the bishops suddenly have more scope. These pawns are now like this, but imagine suddenly bishop can jump out from here. You see, when pawns open up, they are going to help you. So you exchanged an important pawn on f5 for a very less important pawn on f7, which is not a good idea. So there you see the tide started to turn in Divya's favor. Now queen into h7 was played, because I think Zhu Jinar, what she thought was, she thought that she can now attack the bishop here and also win a pawn, so that now rook h8 is not possible, bishop is hanging. So what did Divya do here? There are many decent moves, but I want you to find the best move that Divya played. Black to move. Let's try to feel how Divya was thinking in the game. So much pressure. She's down on time. She has spent 8 minutes on her move, rook d f8. How do you continue? Preetham Raj Penu Gonda says, put all engine bars of 6 games on screen from next stream. Game status can also be put on screen on an Excel table where winning, losing, equal and last move per game can be analyzed, can be mentioned. Not bad. So it's like you put a section there with the bars of all the 6 games. Yeah, should be feasible, I think, so that even if you don't see the moves, you at least know what's happening in those games. Yeah, that would make the broadcast even more engaging. Yeah, that is true. Yes, the bishop is hanging and she played this move bishop d8, and in a way the bishop is moved backwards slightly, but it's well placed. It is defending the queen. The queen can sometimes move back and the bishop can come to b6, and look at this beautiful diagonal. Okay, and Vidit, who was there in the commentary, mentioned that in such positions, even if the queens are exchanged, for example, let's say she went rook e1 and I play the move queen b7, and you take, and I take with, let's say, the king, then this position black has full compensation for the pawn. Why? First of all, these pawns are not really so strong. They are going to come under pressure on these two open files by the rooks. Secondly, this bishop is well placed. This bishop will get active like this, and you get a sense of it, right? That there is compensation. What is compensation? If the opponent has something extra and you can do something about it, activity, weaknesses, it's compensation for you. Okay, so now in this position, Divya could have played a very strong move, and this was also discussed in the live stream. I know it's a slightly complex motive, but I'm still going to try and explain it to you. Black to move, how to get a big advantage here, how to get it. Let's try to understand. Meenu Krishnan says, amazing stream yesterday, Sagar. So nerve-wracking. Divya is AD's successor, I think. Hopefully you get some well-deserved voice rest now, sir. Thank you, Meenu. I think I agree with you that Divya is as fearless as the beast, and I think they both are very good friends, Adiban and Divya, yeah, so that's a very nice thing. She learns from him and he trains her. It's very nice. Rakshit Singh says, I agree with Preetham's super chat, and also even though the stream was flawless, I felt the overlay can be improved. I have a few ideas, don't know how to communicate with either you or Samay. Rakshit, as always, write to us on chessbaseindia@gmail. I think that's the fastest way for to reach me. Yes, the point here is to play rook to h8, attacking the queen. And you will say, but how does it matter? So first let's look at how many squares the queen has. The queen can go to g7 and the queen can go to g6. 2 squares available for the queen. Now let's imagine if the queen went to g7. The main problem with this move here is really unbelievable, and actually this move was found by Samay, who was using an engine at that point, and he suggested it to Vidit, and Vidit said, no, this move is extremely difficult to find. I don't think any player, human player, can find that move. So guys, can you find that move? What is the move that black plays here in order to get a winning position here? It's a winning position. You must be very careful, because the first move that will come to your mind is rook fg8, and if you see, there is a square on the for the queen here, and then the e6 pawn is attacked. It's undefended, so look carefully. Yes, very good, guys. You saw the stream yesterday. You're also now thinking for yourself. Rook knight h6 is the move, and the point is you control this very important square on f7. And you know, the way I think in chess, for me to get a better understanding of every idea, is that I now give black another move, and I say to black, what is your threat? And I realize that if it was black's move again, he would go rook fg8, and that is game over, guys. Look at the queen, it's trapped. No square to go to. It is completely trapped, right? So that's the reason why white must do something about it. So the first thing that comes to your mind is, chalo bhago, let's run from here, let's go to g6, and if he attacks us, let's try to run away from here. But Now it's time for you to shut the door. How are you going to shut the door? Let's see if you can shut the door here. Black to move. 2 moves, trap the queen. Can you trap the queen? Black to move here. How shall we do it? Yes, yes, yes. Bishop e8. Very good, very good. Bishop e8 so that this square is controlled. And next, if queen g7, how do you go here? Rook f g8, and you see all squares again. These two bishops are so cute. They're sitting on the last line and they're like, queen, you have nowhere to go. And the knight and the two rooks have, it's like I get a feeling of kabaddi. I don't know if you guys see kabaddi. It's like you draw the player in, the big player, that's the queen, and then you round him up in a way where there is no way to escape. So this is just like a kabaddi like situation, and the queen is trapped. So coming back to the move queen g6 here, which is a much more logical move than queen g7, because now if you go rook f g8, which is what we were thinking, then queen f7, and it attacks the pawn. And if you play the move bishop to e8, because now that you attack the queen, black simply wins the knight. The knight is hanging. So that's the reason why what you have to find here is a good move for black. It's actually not so difficult, I would say, but it's a very nice move. In fact, there are a couple of moves which are good. Black to move. Black to move here. How do you trap the queen? It's just like this kabaddi, yeah? As you all say, kabaddi base India. But if you are not able to catch the raider, you know, the queen is called the raider. It came in and it picked up pawns. Then it will go back with points. But if you are able to catch it at the right minute, then it's like for 1 pawn, 2 pawns, you got the big guy. You know, that's the thing. So here, yes, all those who say knight into h2, that's going too soft on your opponent. You're giving up like things just for a pawn. It's not a bad move. I would say, like, if you take here on h2, she will take back. It's a good position for black. But let's try to be a little bit more ambitious here. Knight h2 is definitely the very critical move, and I would say gives black a slightly better position. And well, the right move, in as I will show you, is knight e3. And the point is not that knight is doing anything special there. It's just that it's saving itself from the queen, and it's telling to the queen, hey, watch out, bishop e8 and rook g8 are coming, and now I'm out of the way. So that way, queen is trapped. The raider is trapped. Raider has no way to, just look at it. Where will it go? How will it prevent itself from escaping? You know, that is the big problem. For example, let's say it goes knight f1 with the idea that if you play rook f g8, it wants to come to f7. But now the issue is that first I take on g2, attacking this rook. And if you try to save this rook, there is no time. I go knight f4, defending this and the rook, and next move bishop e8, and I trap the queen. You know, these are little bit of calculations which you have to do. But I think it gives black a very clear edge. So now you understand that this entire idea of Zhu Jinner of taking on e6 and then taking this pawn is a flawed idea. She's taking a pawn, she's taking so much risk for just one pawn, and Divya actually corners the queen at some point. She plays first bishop e8. Now Divya also has the same plan in mind. She's like, I want to get that queen. But unfortunately, what happens at this very moment is Zhu Jinner finds this very nice move, queen h3. And the point is that this queen now says to the rook, You stay tight to this knight. You don't come on h8 because I'll pick up the knight otherwise. Divya is like, oh, I can't even jump with my knight to e3 now because e6 is hanging. So she quickly thinks on her feet. She's like, let me first defend e6 and then I will move my knight and then I will catch this guy with my rooks. But meanwhile, here what Zhu Jiner should have done is should have played her knight to f1 so that her queen could have escaped from this side whenever the knight moves and rook comes here. But she went knight h1. She was very concerned about this f2 square. But look at this knight. It's like pathetic. It's at the corner of the board doing absolutely nothing. And here, now Divya continued with putting her knight to e3. Very nice move. And now she is looking at rook h8, rook g8, trying to put pressure. I hope you guys are understanding the game, yeah? Because this is really complex stuff that was being played. Rook d e2. Zhu Jiner now attacks the knight on e3. But it's a bad move. She should have maybe, tried to attack it the other way, putting the knight back. And it's a complex position because now if you attack me on h8, I will take the knight on e3. And then Divya has to move her knight back. Maybe she comes back. Maybe it could be a draw. Not sure. Rook d2. This is a mistake and Divya immediately pounced on it. Now I want you to look 3 moves ahead. Not 1, not 2, but 3 moves ahead. Let's see if you guys can do it. Black to move. What would you play here in this position? Think. Arctic Mustat says chess is played in 100 countries. Arctic, you are not right. Chess is played in 195 countries. The number of federations with FIDE is 195, and in the Chess Olympiad of 2016, where I was writing an article yesterday, 171 teams took part. So chess is big. It's a big game. It's a global game. It's played by people all across the world. So if you go to, let's say, a place tomorrow, your chances of finding a chess board is much higher than, let's say, I don't know, maybe cricket bat is a bad analogy because it's just 10 countries. But in general, you can find chess players everywhere, and that is nice. Yes, very good. 3 moves suggested. Excellent, guys. Very good. So first move is rook h8, attacking the queen, right? Only move is queen g3. By the way, here there could be a possibility of some tactical ideas like knight e5, trying to make use of this fork here. You always have to keep in mind, because the queen may then take the knight. If you take this knight, let's say de, queen may take this, and it's still a playable position. But maybe what Divya would do is she would take on h3, knight d7 check, king b7, take on b6, and then she would take on h2. And then next, this knight is hanging. Let's say if you come to d7 to attack this, then I play rook h8 and this knight is hanging. So all these are little things that you should be aware of. That's why it's very important to calculate accurately. So white played queen g3, and now Divya brought her other rook. She attacked the queen like this, and then queen went to f2. And now you see the usefulness of the bishop here. It defends the queen. So Divya picked up a pawn. And we were so excited at this point. We were like, India is winning, because now you see she's got back the pawn. The raid has ended. This is a weakness. This is a weakness. She's attacking the rook. Okay. So we were expecting that white will maybe go rook f1. And then we will take the queen. She will take maybe rook f2. Then you jump out with your knight. You attack this. You can then put your bishop to h5. You have threats which rook may come in. This is a weakness. Black is completely better. But As it turned out, in the game, Divya didn't play rook f1, she played knight d4, which was very, very surprising. I mean, if you think about it, what was Zhu Jinner thinking with this move knight d4? I have no idea. I have no clue. Why did she play this? Yeah, I have no idea. And here came the move e5. And I like this move. Divya wants to clarify the position. So her opponent jumped to f5. And now they were down to last few seconds. I think Divya was really down on time. And I was like, if I was black, tell you the truth, I would take on f2. Then my opponent would take with the knight. Because if you take with the rook, this is a free rook. Complete free rook. So you would take with the knight. Then I would take on e1. Then the rook takes back. And I take the pawn on h2. I attack the knight. And I didn't see anything wrong with this entire exchange. Because it was so direct. You take the queen. You then take the rook. And then you take the pawn on h2. It's completely winning. But here Divya gave us a big shock, and I was very, very tensed at this moment when she played knight f4. And the question was, why? Why did she have to play this move? Now that I think about it a little bit more carefully, I feel that after takes, what she wanted is this rook doesn't really have a great square to go to. So she will play maybe rook d2. And I think here was a key moment where she should have found the next idea, which unfortunately she did not find in the game. So black to move. What would you play here? It's a slightly tricky move. It's based on a very subtle tactic. Let's see how many of you can find it here. Black to move in this position. Black to move. How should you continue? Divya played the move d5 here, which is good. I mean, it's not a bad move. She wants to get rid of the weakness here. Very subtle tactic, actually. It's not easy. Very good, guys. I think I need to call out some names who are found. Arnav, C.H. Swaroop, Ankit Vartak, Naman Dhameja, Raghav Kabil, Rockstar Dude, Akash Kaushal. Very good. So many people found this move, Bishop A5. You see, there is this nice skewer kind of a thing. How do I call it? Skewer? Maybe? Yeah. The thing is, if you move any of the rooks, the other one falls. But the question is, what about c3? Just blocking the bishop, right? But when the pawn comes up, this bishop gets slightly loose. You take it, he takes it, and now you pick up this beautiful pawn on h2. Very juicy pawn. Why is it a juicy pawn? Because after, let's say, white takes on d6, comes a very, very strong and powerful move. In fact, you can even always play bishop e6. This gives black a clear advantage. But you can also jump in with your rook to g2. And this is a piece sacrifice, because after take on f7, you will take on b2. Let's say he goes on a1. You take on a2. You go king b1. Now you get the other rook here. King here. And the question is how to finish him off. Maybe not so simple, but I would go like here. King b1. Sorry. First, let's go here. Let's go back now and threaten a mate. And if he goes here now, king b1, then you can go here, here, and here. And you pick up this pawn as well. By the way, the interesting part to note here is that you're not winning back the piece immediately. But what you're getting is that this knight, this rook, everyone is discoordinated, while these two rooks and the bishop perform their job beautifully. Okay, So this was a very tough tactic to see in the game. So Divya went d5, and here you get a feeling that maybe something will go wrong. By the way, Siddharth Agrawal says how to watch previous improving chess videos. Siddharth Agrawal, there is a playlist on ChessBase India called Improving Chess with the Comedians, and you will find it there. So takes, and now Divya picked up the pawn. So equal material, 4 pawns for each side, but look at the quality of the pieces. Quality of the pieces is beautiful for black. They are so strong, it's so active. She went knight e7, and here the thing is that the knight is attacking the rook and the bishop. So time for you to think again, what should black play here? In fact, it's not a very straightforward move, and Divya was down to her last 20 seconds or so. This was really tense now. How should black play here? Ayush Kurana says, where will quarterfinals be streamed? I believe on Samay's channel that would happen, but we have not yet decided anything. But that would most probably happen there. Black to move. What should black play here? Guys, today I wasn't expecting Samay to join in, First of all, 3 hours stream, 3.5 hours stream on chess. Very, very tough. After that, he does a stream on improving, like he's getting his rating up. Then he does a stream on Fall Guys with Tanya Botes and Karan Singh. I mean, come on, that guy is a man. He will not wake up until the quarterfinals. So, very good. All of you who said rook g2, brilliant job. It's basically, the point is you don't want to give up your bishop, and if now white takes on d5, then I can take on d2, and if you take on, let's say, b6, you want 2 pieces for a rook, yes, but this knight unfortunately is getting trapped with the move king c7. There's no way out for the knight. These 2 squares are controlled. This is controlled. This is controlled. So time to resign the game. Also h2 is hanging. So all of this makes it, rook g2 was very nice. Vidit was there at that point. He was very impressed with this move. Took, bishop takes, and now you see this guy. Fall Guys, yeah, it's going to fall. Knight g3, and Divya swooped in, picked up a pawn, and it's not just a pawn, guys. These 2 pawns are now passed pawns. They're going to keep moving forward. So opponent played knight e4, and here comes the key moment. I would say this is one thing which maybe Divya will work on in the days to come, and I think this is one thing which I saw Prag in brilliant glory in the first game against Georgia, against Kacharava. What happens is, under time pressure, you always feel a little nervous about your opponent's knights, because you see the knight's movement is a little bit tricky. It jumps like this, it jumps here, it jumps here. You don't know what to do. And so Divya was like, rather than worry about where the knight will move, let me pick it up. But what happens when you do such a move is that this bishop, which is so powerful, is actually given up. And so here it's very important for Divya to keep that bishop on the board, because that bishop is really helping her. So she can make, it's not easy to find a move, but even a move like, let's say, king b7 or let's say rook h7 is very good, because now you're attacking the knight, and you really, let's say after something like knight f5, you're not very worried about losing this pawn. For example, let's say if you go rook d7, he cannot take here, because after rook f7, these knights are hanging. So these are all little tactical things. For example, here you move your knight, I'll take on d3, and then I'll pick up the knight on f5. Also at the same time, here, if you just give white a move, then taking on f6 can be met with bishop d8, once again creating some issues, and then he has to make this lousy move like knight g8 or knight eg8, and it's not good. So but when Divya is under time pressure, she was like, let me get rid of this knight quickly. Someone in the chat says rook h1 is better, but now I think after the rooks get exchanged and knight into f6, I'm not sure, because now these two knights can defend each other with like this, and they are not so stupid because the rook is not there to attack them one more time, somehow over here. Okay, that being said, please let me make it very clear, this is a very complicated position, and when you add time pressure to it, and at the same time you add the win at stake, that you have to win the game for your country, it's just really stressful. So bishop takes, and now she went bishop f2. This is where I think Zhu Jiner got some of her chance back. She played now king c7 and now a3, back rank safety, king d7, and she played knight f5. Now Zhu Jiner, what she didn't want to do is go into this opposite color bishop endgame, because it makes Divya's task very easy. Now once you have knights off, bishops are easier to manage. You go e4, king d6, king e5, f4, e3, so on. You start pushing the pawns. So knight f5 was played in this game, and there came bishop to c5. A nice move here by black, just trying to stay steady. Rook d1, king c7. You have to be careful, because if you play a move like king e6, there comes a dangerous move. Can you find out? It's over here, white to move. What should white play? There are many moves actually to hold, but there is one clear way to draw now. $2,000 people watching this. Please like the stream so that more people can watch it and understand these games. They are very complex. You have to agree with me. Yeah, b4 is one decent move, not bad. I don't see what is the problem here with b4. I think it's a decent move, but Hikaru read my article on Igor Ross's. I need to see that. Many times I must Hikaru did a video with his stepfather also, where he spoke about it. That was an interview done by me. As always, Hikaru is doing some great work in chess, and the way he's popularizing chess is amazing. Yeah, knight g7, very good. All the people who said knight g7, very good. All of you who said bishop d5, guys, wake up. Indian victory is at stake. You're giving up a piece. I mean, sorry, that was a Chinese move on bishop d5. But anyway, I think you guys wanted to win very quickly. So king e6, knight g7. And the point being, if now king f7, you come in with the rook, and now you see how these three pieces are coordinating very well. King f8, assuming this move. Now knight f5, and you will see that there are all sorts of threats, like bishop can go to c6, then you give a check, then bishop can join in, this knight controls these two squares. My god, it can lead to a mating attack. That's what you say. When there are opposite color bishops on the board, it's very risky, because this bishop can't be controlled by this guy and vice versa. So Divya quickly said, let me put my king on c7. I don't want to go to e6. Okay, rook e1 was played, and now rook e2. And I think here it was more a question of trying to make sure that you don't lose the game now anymore with less time, like you come under some attack, as we just saw right now. So after rook exchange, losing idea is gone. Like there is no danger of losing, but also the winning chances are less. So she played c3. And here, when I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, is there a pawn hanging? Is there a pawn hanging? I started shouting. Can you guys spot? Black to move. Is there something happening here? Divya played the move knight f4, which was pretty decent. But is there a pawn hanging here? Can you see it? Black to move. Black to move here. Arctic Mustache, Sashi Kiran, we are going to get him. We are going to put a video of him recently. There was a webinar with PSPB where he spoke, and that is something we want to post. Yes, you are right. Sashi Kiran is someone who doesn't come into public limelight easily, but a very eloquent speaker, very nice person. I hope someday I can get him on stream. Yes, Bishop A3, very good, guys. You are like very smart. The point is, if he takes, you take on C3 with a check and you win this guy. And then you're 3 pawns up, which is completely winning. But what's the problem? As we have pointed out, chess is not checkers. Okay? Chess is not checkers. And here comes a very nice move, Bishop F3. I was telling, and Vidit and I were discussing very quickly in the live commentary, and he was like, oh, no, Bishop F3, there's Knight G1. You can still attack the bishop and win it. But here, I'm going to show you one very important rule in chess. And this is something which will be your friend forever in your life. White to move. What does white play? Remember this always, okay? The rule. White to move. How should white play here? There's only one move that can help you, because if you play any other move, I'll just bring back the bishop and I'll be fine. Bishop F3, Knight G1, and now, guys, this move is what we all missed in the live commentary, and it's very, very typical. It will help you. Yes, very good, Ilam Parthi. Very good. Also, Aryan Srivastav, well done, guys. You are very, very smart. And tell me what the rule is in this position after you find the move. Harish Sarapale says, Sagar, I know one way we can solve internet disconnectivity players of problem of Indian players are facing. There's something called multipath TCP. If you are interested, I'll mail you something. Harish Sarapalli, yes, please do so. I also have someone who's technically inclined and knows things about it, and I will then forward it to him, and maybe if it's something useful, we can directly reach the players and help. So please do mail. All those who say B4, well, you're going to lose this bishop here. So you don't really trap the bishop. You need to do something about this. And if you play a move like Knight H4, trying to defend this, I'll take, and then I'll just move my bishop away and I'm winning, completely winning. But this is the thing which you should remember. Bishop G4, brilliant move. All those who found this, please give yourself a pat on the back. This is the move, because you see this knight, it can come here, here and here, only 3 squares. And when there are 2 squares in between the bishop and the knight, this bishop dominates the knight completely. And this happens whenever the knight reaches on the edge of the board. Imagine, okay guys, try to put on your imagination hat. Imagine there is a knight on H8, a black knight, and you take 2 squares in between, and you put your bishop on H5. Knight can go to F7 and G6, but the bishop controls them. So 2 square rule of the bishop comes very, very handy here, dominating the knight completely, and the knight is killed for the rest of the game. Why? Because this bishop cannot help in protecting light squares, and so the knight is gone. It is like dead over there, and with a piece down over here, black will be able to hold, white will be able to hold this endgame. What she will do is, she'll get her king, maybe she will try to go and attack. It's true that she cannot win it because this bishop will protect, but it's like a permanent state of coma. You know, you are alive, but you cannot move. You cannot do anything. It's not like you have a life full of activity there. Yes, Ilam Parthi, very good. I just in my mind right now, it came Vidit's game against Firman Sia, where he put his king on D4. The king also, let's say the king is here, is also effective when it comes to G4, the king. But it doesn't dominate the knight completely. It's just this 2 square rule from the knight is good with the king and the bishop both. But here, bishop is really strong. So now, let's go to the move in the game, knight f4. Divya saw it, I guess. She's really, like, she was switched on. You see, in order to win a game of chess, you have to be so careful. King c2, king coming up. Divya played knight e6, king d3, and she played bishop to f2. Now these next moves are just trying to play quickly as possible. Knight c, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I just moved very quickly. Here came, actually both were playing very fast, and that's where I think that Zhu Jinner is sometimes a bit careless. I mean, look, the draw is in grasp now. You are pawn down, but your pieces are so nicely placed that they're blocking these pawns. And let's say here Divya would next move get knight g5. So for example, b4, knight g5. You don't really care about this. You just move your bishop away. This knight cannot be moved. This pawn really, I mean, advancing it takes it nowhere. You know, it will go knight g3 and you can pick up the pawn. So in a way, for black to make progress is very difficult here. So for example, I want to still try. If you go king d7, trying to get the knight here, I may start coming here and trying to win these pawns. That's why it was very difficult for Divya to make progress. But look at what her opponent plays. King d3. It's a big blunder. Guys, can you find the move for black? I know I played it a few seconds ago, but still, all those who did not see, move leaked. Move leaked. Black to move. How should black win this position? Can you find the move? Yeah, 2100 guys watching. I want to make sure that all of you like this stream, and please stay tuned till the end, because I want to take you to this petition of Indian players. I want to read it out to you about the Arjuna Award. Please stay tuned. After this game, we'll do that. Very good. All those who saw knight c5, very nice. Knight c5. I like this thing about you saying move leaked, because on Samay's streams usually it's like number leaked, and here it's at least move leaked. So knight c5, and now you see, if the knight moves away, e4 bishop is gone. I mean, if the king moves away from here somewhere, so therefore you have to come under the fire of this bishop, and that's when Divya found a nice discovered attack. She did not pick up this bishop, because then after king takes e4, it's another, you know, effort to win. Just knight a4, very good move, very good move. And then here took the pawn, and now it's not only a pawn, the other remaining two pawns are also so weak. So you can go here, you can attack this pawn, you can then attack this pawn. It's very, very easy now for black to win, and Divya did it nicely. She went king d7, bishop d8, defending the f6 pawn. She pushed knight c2, knight a4. Now c3 pawn is hanging. How to defend it? You cannot defend it. Bishop f5, king d6. You take another pawn, and here we were like, come on, that's great. Divya is winning, and yes, she actually managed to convert this without any real problems, and I liked her technique overall. Now exchanging the knights, because it's easier in this opposite color bishop. You see, once the knights are off, no tension. This bishop we know is always zindagi bhar, this entire life, it will work on light squares. So that's 32 squares not to consider on the board. But when a knight is on the board, you have to see, oh, knight is controlling dark squares. Okay, cool. Knight suddenly jumps. Oh, it's controlling light squares. Oh, I must look carefully. So that's the reason why when the knights are off, it becomes very easy. Bishop d7, b4, and now with these three extra pawns, even the opposite color bishop cannot save the opponent, because these pawn will push from here, this will push from here. White king is like, should I go here? Should I go there? It gets trapped in its stuff, and that is where Divya managed to win this game with ease. Now pushing the pawn, that pawn is protected on b4, and she pushes, and here opponent resigned, because if you take the bishop, I will play f2. There is no way to stop the queen. fantastic game. Don't you agree with me? It was such a complex game. In order to explain you all the intricacies, it took me nearly an hour. And Divya did it within 15 minutes. She and her opponent, 15 each, which shows the amount. And they thought much more than what I could explain to you guys. So that's the reason why I would like to just give a big shout out. And I hope that you guys can write in the chat Divya OP, because really, I mean, she is playing brilliant chess, and to play such high stressful games will be, and maybe she'll face Anna Sargsyan or Vantika. I'm not sure who will face, but it will be very interesting to see it. I could cover only one game today, guys, but I'll make the videos on remaining games later, so you can watch it and you can check it out in the next 3 days before the quarterfinals. I'll try to give a nice roundup of all that has happened until now and what we can expect in the future. But now let me take you very quickly to this petition, which I want you guys to see and to understand before signing. It's more important that you understand the petition, because it's some kind of an injustice, I would say, to chess players who are working really hard. So here, if you check, there is a petition. The link of it is in the description. It is Arjuna Award to chess players, drought of 7 years. Okay, this is what I want to say. And also Arjuna Award actually includes Dronacharya Award as well. Like, I have not mentioned it separately, but even Dronacharya Award is not being given to Indian coaches. So right now, if I refresh it, we have 14,171 people. So in the morning when I woke up, it was 12,653. Now it is 14,171 people. The thing is that let me pull up the article. So I have mentioned a brief overview here. So there were 17 Arjuna Awards given to chess players. First one was to Manuel Aron in 61. I think Arjuna Awards were instituted somewhere at that time, like 1960s or 1958 or something. And he was the first one to get it. Then there was Rohini Khadilkar. Then there was Dibyendu Barua, Praveen Thipse, Vishy Anand. By the way, Vishy Anand has also won the Padma Vibhushan. So, for him, at some point we should start this, that he should get the Bharat Ratna, because 5-time world champion not being acknowledged, I think, is somehow something that we should talk about, but that's for later. D.V. Prasad, Bhagyashri Thipse, Anupama Gokhale, these were all gems of Indian chess back then. Vijay Lakshmi, Shashi Kiran, Hampi, Ganguly, Hari Krishna. You see here, between 1990 to 2010 years, there was no award given. I believe that there was one player who missed out on this entire thing, or maybe couple I might be missing, but Abhijit Kunte I can't find in the list. He was a very strong GM. Hari Krishna, Harika, Tanya Sachdev, Parimarjan Negi and Abhijit Gupta. These are all the players who have got the Arjuna Award. But now, if you see, there is no award that is given since last 7 years. And this is very sad. And now, I actually spent a lot of time writing this article, and I see that on just a week ago, Indian government gave the Arjuna Awards this year. Now it gave 29 awards this time. You see, these are 29 awards that are given here. They gave to archery, lug is this tube where you go, athletics, badminton, basketball, cricket 2, boxing 2, badminton also 2 awards, equestrian, that's that horse thing, football, golf, hockey, kabaddi, kho-kho, swimming. I mean, the list goes on, and no offense to anyone, these are all champions and very happy, but why not chess player? Why not a player like Vidit, who has really performed at that level? Why not Adiban, who has reached 2700? Why not Sethuraman, who's won Asian, who's won medal for the Olympiad? Guys, why not Padmini? She has achieved everything that you became Asian champion, 4-time national champion, won a medal, gold medal at the Olympiad, individual gold. What more? Yeah. And Dronacharya Award, I'm sure I have not covered coaches here because I need to do a separate article on this. There's so many great coaches, and in chess, players, you can find the achievements quickly, you can find their elo rating, but for coaches it's very difficult to know. I have to talk to the players, so I'm going to do a separate article on this. But I took the views of RB Ramesh because he has won 34 world youth medals for India, Asian youth medals, Commonwealth medals, national titles, Asian senior medals, bronze medal in chess Olympiad. I mean, such a person should be recognized, and there are many more for that matter. And there you see the Indian team winning medals everywhere. Here at the Olympiad, now look, this Olympiad, we had 171 teams participating. China finishing first, Hungary second, and Team India coming third. It's a big thing, guys. It's a big thing to win this medal. It's even more tough than the Olympic Games many times, because here everyone is there, every country is there. And here, this is the next Olympiad where we finished fourth. And see the team: Setu, Karthikeyan, Vidit, Adiban, Hari Krishna, coach Ramesh, and they have been trying. And chess players have always contributed to the Indian society, to the government, like by the COVID PM Cares Fund, they contributed. And so I believe that in order, they should be recognized. And secondly, these are the future stars of India. You see Arvind, Prag, Nihal, SL Narayanan, Raunak, Lalit, Karthikeyan, Vaibhav Suri, Aryan Chopra, Abhimanyu, Gukesh, Arjun. I'm missing out maybe on a few. And also in the women's section, you see Divya, Vaishali, Nandida, Vantika, Pratyusha. These are all the great players of India. Bhakti, Saumya, Isha, Mary, Nisha. All these people should be awarded at some point. This is important, because once you don't get that award, there are many things that go wrong. For example, firstly, you don't get sponsors, because Arjuna Awards are, if you are an Arjuna awardee, some company says, okay, I will sponsor you. Secondly, it's just a recognition of your effort for the country. It's just very important. And there are some important tweets which you can read. The article link is in the description. It's the second link. So you can go and you can sign this petition. One small thing I want you to know is, you look, they have clauses in which they mention Olympic Games, Asian Games, Commonwealth Games. So you see, chess has its own Olympiad, chess has its own Asian Championship, chess has its own Commonwealth Games. It is not included in this overall thing. Once when chess was included in Asian Games, Humpy went on, Humpy, Shashikiran and Hari Krishna won the medal for India. So chess, if it's included in these games, will bring a lot of medals. But now that it's not, you cannot really ignore it. Like the World Cup, World Championship, all of this is different for chess. It's a tough qualification process. ELO ranking, which is so important, is not considered in any of the rules. And you see, cricket has a very separate mention, because cricket has no Olympic Games, Asian Games, Commonwealth Games or anything, but they consider it separately. So I believe chess should also be considered separately, so that people understand that. Yeah. So I believe it's a very important petition, not because we want the Arjuna Award and things, but just imagine, these players they have achieved everything that a person can. And if you see here, I've actually written Atanu Das or any of these players are not like number 1 to 10 in the world. It's like, for example, here Atanu Das ranking in archery is 22. Duty Chand's highest overall ranking in athletics is 356. Sunil Shetty is ranked 247 in the world in table tennis. Dwij Sharan current doubles ranking is 56. So these are not like best in the world. They have achieved something for India, so they get this award. Same way, these players in Indian chess have achieved something. So I think it's logical, right? So if you guys agree with me, then do spread the word. You can, because I believe it's important. The Arjuna Award comes with it. You get a trophy. You also get 5 lakh rupees, and you get like that statue. You get a dress. But yes, the amount is important of 5 lakhs, but more than that, it's the recognition that is more important. So sign it here. We have right now 14,000. We want to reach 1 lakh. I think that's a sizable amount. We need to reach out to the government and Right now do, we have 200 more people joining in. So spread the word. It's not going to be easy to reach 1 lakh, but when India is doing so well at the Olympiad, I think it's possible. uh, and let's work on this. Yeah. So, oh, now it's 15 lakhs, says Ankit. Okay, I'm not sure. Yeah, I thought it was 5 lakhs, but anyway, if it's 15, that's a huge amount. So guys, let's do something about it, and I think I'll see you later today, or maybe tomorrow. Just get things in order for the next 3 days before we get to the pre-quarterfinals and finals. It's going to be exciting. Please stay tuned, and I'm really grateful to each one of you for not just enjoying chess, for not just viewing it and supporting it, but also because you want to learn chess, you want to get better at it, you are ready to wake up so early in the morning to uh, you want to do something about your game, you want to improve at it. So I'm very, very thankful to all of you for that. I think when you understand chess, you're able to enjoy it much better, right? So that's what we are trying to do here with these sessions. And see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye. Please like the stream and do subscribe to ChessBase India if you haven't. See you.